Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Good morning from Fiji. Good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're tuning in this morning. My name is Viva Tatawaqa, and I'm from Viva Tatawaqa of Fiji, and I will be co-moderating with my colleague Sanam. I will let Sanam introduce herself, and I'll give the floor back to her. But it's my honorable task this morning is to welcome you all into the space. We hope that you are excited as much as we are for this session. And maybe just before we get into the session, we will share a screen just to share with you a few guidelines, right? But we always say in DIVA, we don't need rules because we are old enough and we know whatever we're doing. But this guideline is just to help us through this session. There's a fireball room you have with us this morning. So we want to make sure that at the end of this session, everybody will go back with something constructive and something that will help the work that they're doing. So we hope these guidelines will kind of help that go well for us. Eh? So please, as I mentioned earlier, feel free to rename yourself from your gadget. So you might be coming in as Galaxy or Samsung. We're sure that's not your name. So feel free to rename yourself, put down your preferred pronoun. And also, please, if you want to share some resources from the work that you do, the chat, we are very clear that you can, yes, we've been affirmed that you can share resources on the chat. And just flagging, we have interpreters, and I also have to remind myself this. So please talk slowly, and I'm also flagging to the speakers and slowly and very clear so they are able to capture you. Just flagging that the session will be recorded, and feel free, the last one will be, feel free to switch off video if network coverage is weak. For some of us, most of us that come from South countries, this is one of the biggest problems for us in tuning into this kind of platform. So there are some techniques that we can do to still enable us to participate fully in this platform. So feel free to switch off video or mute yourself if you're not talking, so we can still have this conversation. Eh? So those are some of the guidelines that we hope that you can abide with us to make sure that we have a very constructive and productive conversation. Eh? So I will thank you, Katie, for that. Just to take you through the brief introduction about this session. Welcome to the South-South Conversation Series, and this first session is actually focusing in sweeping up the dirt under the mat, right? You have feminists, you have women's human rights defenders with you this morning as speakers, that they will talk to you about how are we really actually moving forward, right? Knowing that promoting a structural and anti-colonial and intersectional approach to social, economic, climate justice as we move forward, from the realities of the work that we're all doing from our region, right? So with you this morning, you have Viva for Equality as the conveners, the Nganga Grassroots Young Families Network, Women Defend the Commons, Poverty to Power, and Pacific Families SRHR, co-lead with Tonga Women's and Children's Center, Shifting the Power Coalition, Pacific Islands Families Alliance for Climate Justice, Action Aid Vanuatu, Peng and Wansawara, and also Pacific Islands Climate Action Network, with the Feminist Action Nexus for Economic and Climate Justice. So together we provide this space to make sure that, you know, how are we talking about all these things that we keep hearing, that in the movement, we keep hearing from every work that we're doing, that human rights, CSO spaces are getting closer. How are we talking about all these unspoken realities in the challenges of, you know, moving this work forward? And we're not clear, like, who, instead of pushing the blame back and forth, how do we create such a space that we can have this kind of constructive and healthy conversation? So we hope that you will enjoy what the speakers will unpack with you this morning, which is about unpacking the commodification of human rights, right? And the development. How do we move forward with that? As for me, as the Grassroots Young Women's organizer, I'm so excited to really, if we are about moving forward and not leaving anyone behind, then we need to really scrap out some of this patriarchal behavior that we still sometimes unintentionally still enabling. We need to move the conversation for that. So we're hoping that this platform that we are creating for you this morning will enable some of those discussions, the different actors, the different parts that everyone plays in this work that we are all trying to do. And also building up this conversation into the Conference of Parties, the COP27. How do we, for us to be able to go into this space and really have a strong South voice that we really want to make our point, then we need to make sure that we scrap out all these things that we need to put on the table to enable us, even if it's not COP or other platform that we are trying to, example, like CSW, all these other global spaces that we're trying to engage in. How do we, and most of the time, how do we engage specifically and construct the spaces without dealing with some of the issues that we still carry with us? And some of these issues, actually, the issues that, close us up from engaging, close us up from how, when we're supposed to be all standing together, we all, at some points, always go in with different ways. So we're hoping that you will enjoy this series, and we hope that you will, as much as we are learning from this platform, you also, as much as you're learning from this platform, we are also going to be learning from each other. Without further ado, I will now give it to Sanam to introduce our speakers, and we'll go straight into it.